Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited to get this video out to you because it's all about the champion of 6.2.6. 6.2.6 for me has been a very difficult grind. More so for this, the other characters, the other champions, the other bosses weren't so bad. There were some really nasty ones in there, but this one is probably the nastiest. Now with the champion boss, I've seen so many stuff, so many guides out there, but it didn't really represent my frustrations, and that was all about how to trigger off that dexterity right. Because when you think you're dexting correctly, it looks like you are not. And I don't know if this is like my scuffy connection, kind of like not dexterating myself, but it's just a case of understanding the skill set. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I didn't see any guides out there that really helped me out too much with it. But the fact is, SP2 bias and Power Stone is all going to be about these different percentages of health as to what it triggers off. We're going to talk about that in a sec. And as well, when it comes to the nodes, if you are looking for your exploration, that is where it's going to be more painful with all those different nodes coming in. Obviously, whatever you take off, it's going to be applicable to make anything the easier way to get it done. Now, the champion goes into 4 stages. Stages number 1 is between 100% and 70%. The pre-shot, at the start of the fight, the champion instantly generates 30% of health points his opponent is missing. So I'd probably say don't, if you failed within the first 7, 10, 100% to 70%, make sure to regen your champion to full health, or make sure to put obviously health pots on so it's full health. And as well, the champion is already at 100% of his max health. He instead begins a fight with 3 of his fury buffs. Now obviously you need to suppress that. We'll talk about champions in a minute. Between 70% and 40% is opening bout. While the champion is unstoppable, any contact with him leaves the attacker stunned for 2.5 seconds. All the champion light attacks are unblockable, and his fights are aggressive. Now, I found the process with this one was just smashing in as much damage as possible. As soon as it gets below 70%, smashing in something like an SP2 or a powerful SP3. But a specific champion that suppresses unstoppable, like Cat Beardo, we've got Magic, we've got Hood, we've got Mephisto to a degree, but I don't know if that's really a champion you want to say taking against this content. And Dr. Doom, of course, which is the champion I use for the process. Between 40 and 10%, this I think got me a little bit stuck. I think I just kind of cost me a revive just to get down to this section, but that's through a little bit of a mistake of my own. All the champion's medium attacks are unblockable, and he becomes very aggressive. The champion deals 10% of his attack as direct damage to the attacker between every time they stagger or nullify a buff. And I don't think that's so much to worry about. You don't want to be hit by a champion going into an unstoppable, that is, because let's face it, that is going to be more annoying to kind of get sorted out. Whenever damage over time stun debuff is placed on the champion, is 100% chance to shrug off instantly. So that's frustrating, but just concentrate on, again, bursting a load of damage in a very short space of time. I would probably say if you're unable to take the champion down to 10% without at least, well, if you do it without any revives, that's great. If you do it with 1 revive, that's fine. I would say that if it's taking you about 4 or 5, even like, you know, upwards of hundreds of units, you're not ready yet. You really would not be ready yet, and it's important to kind of like train as much as possible on this process. Now, I'll be showing footage in a moment of the process of getting the champion down, and it will include some mistakes here or there, but again, you know, this is meant to be like a guide for those people that really, you know, sweaty, they're going to be really shaky and scared. Don't be. It's fine. Take a moment, take a step back, and just take deep breaths, and then get back into it again, and you will be fine. It's just the last 10% to 0% you've got to concentrate on, which is here. The champion gains 5 indestructible charges, avoiding a special attack with the Dexterity Mastery, removes 1 charge, and grants the attacker Prowess. When all the charges have been removed, the champion gains indestructible against all attacks. So, sorry, the champion gains indestructible against all attacks. So that's what you've got to do. You've got to switch over. So there, he removes his 5 indestructible charges. You gain the Prowess. You smash him with an SP3, and the game is over. Obviously, based on the extent of damage output you like doing. If you've seen Metal Sonic Dude at New York Comic Con 2019, you'll know exactly how that plays out. Yeah, I've gone over a selection of champions to use with, you know, Dr. Doom, Magic, Beardo, Thing. We've also seen other champions like Hood do some damage. But this is the thing. When you get down to that 10%, and this is what we're going to cover now, this is where you've got to hone your skills in. And when I've gone around to other like YouTube channels and seen other content, I hasn't really covered the issue of dexterity. And that's the thing. You have to understand timing, and something that I needed to learn and refine is my timing. The methods that I used to go and smash out the champion was I was doing the dash in whilst the enemy was doing special attacks. So the last section, so in the SP1, it's the karate chop down, and then the champion goes his head back. At that point, when the karate chop goes down, I rushed in, stood static, and then swiped back out again as the headbutt went down. Most of the time, it did not work. Sometimes it did work, and that was great. I gained that prowess. But it was very difficult to get that to trigger off. Now, I don't know, I won't call, Kabam's BS in putting out a game that is difficult to communicate that whole kind of dexterity. But as well, was it me? I'm going to say that it was me, and it's a case that timing that is important. So when that headbutt is looking like it's coming down, I was going too early, and I should have been waiting a little bit longer in order to do it. Nextly, when it comes to the SP2. So I'm going to be showing up some good examples and bad examples of the dexterity side of things. But let's talk about the SP2. Similar type of thing as well. Although every time that was done, I knew what I was getting myself into. So when the champion does a kick out and then is about to do a backflip back to then come back to you, that is when it's to go in. So you'll see on the screen now of a bad example possibly, and then after that will be a good example. So me going in and it not working out when I swipe back out again. Because again, we want to trigger off the dexterity. We want to trigger off that prowess, and when it's working and when it's not. And that's the thing about the communication, whether or not it's a case it is working as intended or not, I don't really know. I kind of want to say that it's my fault with regards to where I'm playing. I kind of feel like it should be a bit more fairer and easier to trigger off dexterity and that prowess, especially considering that, look, I was in the process. I did do an evade out from the special, so therefore I should be granted that dexterity. But then again, who am I to judge that particular thing? I'm not the developer, but you kind of feel it would be nice for that to be a bit more fairer in future. But obviously, there's other content in the future to consider as well. But the fact is, that's the process. How to do it better is just timing and looking out for little things. Those kind of minute bits are kind of important between you getting the prowess and you not. So off the SP1. Waiting to the very last millisecond, and training your reflexes and timing to then get away before that headbutt hits you. And it's again going to be down to split second. The same thing with the SP2. When the champion is doing that back handstand and then coming back at you with the feet, that's the point to kind of go, right, I'm in, I'm static, and I'm swiping back out again. It is a real big relief when you eventually do this, but it is a very complex fight that you need to really concentrate on. Now, my top tips for this would be practice. Kabam are about to introduce something where you're able to search a particular champion. Obviously, we'll be searching the champion, and it's a case you've got to practice about triggering up that dexterity. I would say go and practice with the Winter Soldier and say, look, time it for the very last second, but it's not going to be very important. It's going to be more important for you to time off the way that the champion plays. And yeah, I mean, like the way that I played this is very different. I was finding that when I was going into a block stance, which I've seen other Marvel Contest Champions YouTubers do, is that staying in a block stance is only so good as your block proficiency. So it literally will start melting away. And yes, you can use boosts. That's a very important thing. Use boosts in order to really kind of like keep your health. But the fact is, I was finding issues where if you were in that block stance, you were finding that you were being hit. It was again down to that headbutt that you were swiping away. I ended up liking the method that I was using, the kind of like hit just before the run in on the second to last hit and then swipe back for the final hit of the special attack. Very complex, lots of skill required, but if you get it to work, it can work wonders for you. In any case, I hope it's helped all you lovely people out there. I'm really excited for opening up the 6 stars very soon, so hopefully you come by for that. And also further progression in 100%ing some of the aspects of 6.2 very soon. Keep locked to the channel, post notifications on all, And as well, look out for some 6.3 content very soon as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. If it helped, then check out some of my other content on screen at the moment, and I'll see you in a new video. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye for now.